Hello, this is the Fifth Star Podcast. I'm Jamie.
And I'm Albert.
And this is a podcast where we're trying to find our next 5-star rated movie. And when we find that movie, this podcast will get nuked.
Kaboom! All right, so in this episode, we are reviewing A House of Dynamite, which is Kathryn Bigelow's latest film that's on Netflix right now. And this is her first film in 8 years.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, her last one was Detroit in 2017.
Okay.
So that's really exciting. I really love Kathryn Bigelow. Have you seen a lot of her movies?
What has she made?
She's done Hurt Locker. Have you seen Hurt Locker? Oh, you haven't seen Hurt Locker? Oh, I thought you at least saw that. But I love her movies. She's done Hurt Locker. She's done Zero Dark 30, which Zero Dark 30 is amazing. I mean, Hurt Locker's amazing too. It's great. And then, she's Detroit, K-19. So she's done a lot of really good like action, drama, thriller, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And so, House of Dynamite is kind of in that wheelhouse for sure.
Is.
But yeah, she's also the first director to have won an Oscar for Best Directing for Hurt Locker. So she's
the first director?
Yeah, first female director to have won an Oscar.
I don't think you said female.
Sorry.
I was like...
Wasn't that obvious? She's a female.
She's the first director to ever get an Oscar.
Yeah. So, she won for Hurt Locker. And, since then, there's been 2 others who've won more recently.
That's awesome.
But that was in 2010.
Very cool.
Yeah. So, really exciting to have this movie come out. What we secretly wrote down what we gave this film. What do you think I gave it, Jamie?
A 3-0.
Okay, 3-0. That's what I was going to guess you gave it also.
It's a safe guess.
Yeah. We're going to try to do a little bit spoiler-free like we normally do, but they're really...
It's
hard.
Can't say
there's
much.
Not much that we can say without spoiling it, so... I think most of our discussion will be in spoilers.
Yeah.
First of all, this has a really good cast.
People kept showing up, and I was like, "Oh,
yeah,
you're in this."
Yeah, and starts off, the main, I guess, protagonist initially is Rebecca Ferguson.
Yes.
And we love her. We've done Silo.
What a legend.
Yeah. How do you think she did in this film?
I mean, good as always.
Okay.
Yeah. I still think she does struggle sometimes with her American accent.
Yeah.
But she's still a great actress.
Yeah.
I'm not going to knock her too much for that.
Yeah. It is a little weird because you're like, is someone who's like British? She's British? Is she British?
I think she's Swedish, actually.
Okay.
I actually noticed a ton of the government workers in the movie are not American.
Oh.
And I thought that was interesting.
Yeah.
I was like, all of these actors are from other countries.
Yeah.
But they're portraying like our elite government workers. Anyway.
Yeah, it is interesting. Greta Lee is in this. She makes kind of a cameo. It's not a cameo. She has a little substantial part, but there is someone who's in it, but I don't I feel like it's a little bit of a spoiler.
I know who you're talking about.
But anyway, what did you think of the film overall?
It's so hard to say. I thought it was creative. And the reason for that is I don't know if I've seen a movie structured this way before.
It has a unique narrative.
Yeah. There were
structure.
moments that kind of reminded me of Memento.
Okay.
Just because there is some bouncing back in time.
Yeah.
And some repetition of lines. That is how Memento is told.
Yeah.
And so I thought that was interesting. It was definitely tense. I was engaged the whole time.
Okay.
Yeah. I was never bored.
Yeah. Now, the basic premise is basically that there's a intercontinental ballistic missile, ICBM, that's on its way towards the continental US. It gets detected by an outpost out in Alaska, and there's a whole... It kind of shows the behind the scenes of all the different governmental groups and how they would all react.
Yeah.
And what the protocols would be.
Super fascinating.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that part was really interesting to see. And I'm guessing it's based on a lot of truth.
I did look it up, and apparently a lot of it is pretty true. They did a ton of research.
Okay.
Like the writers interviewed tons of government workers that like were in these roles.
Yeah.
They really were trying to make it accurate, but apparently the government has said this is inaccurate.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I wonder if that's just because they have to like protect some
of
of this.
They don't want to like show too or expose too much of the secrets.
Because if it's exactly the way all the protocols would go, then I guess enemy groups would know like how to manipulate that, which is part of the premise of the film. Is like somehow there's some way that this got this slip detection, this missile, and we don't know where it originated from. So that's kind of part of like the dilemma that they're all stuck in. Yeah. So yeah, I mean I do think that part of it was really fascinating.
Yeah.
Being able to get that behind the curtains look, and the more true it is, like the more interesting I found it.
I also thought it was interesting how we only get tiny tastes of each character's context or backstory. And I thought that was interesting because suddenly their little life problems seem so small. And that's like very true to how the world would operate, where for example, Rebecca Ferguson's character, her son is sick with like a really high fever, and the dad is having to like take him to the pediatrician, and suddenly that whole situation feels so small and tiny. Like the worst part of the dad's day is taking his kid to the pediatrician. The worst part of the mom's day is some kind of missile is coming at our country and this could be the end of the world. And I think like putting those two pieces together was really interesting. It's like, okay, in the grand scheme of things, our problems are tiny.
If you're having a bad day right now as you're watching this or listening to this,
the world's not.
At least we're not gonna get nuked, right? Or are we?
Don't jinx it.
Yeah. I mean, the other thought I had was, man, like, my job can get stressful sometimes, but at least I'm not having to worry about potentially like a nuclear attack. Like that's not like on the table.
No.
I'm not going to be part of like the decision chain or whatever related to how we respond to that. So, yeah, it does
but also you're not going to be saved. Sorry.
Hey.
You don't get a special spot.
If I was a designated survivor or whatever, you probably wouldn't know it.
It's fair. But then I'd have so many more questions. Like, wait, why are you a designated survivor? What do you do again?
This is all I cover. This podcast is a front. Now, this does come a few years after, the success of Oppenheimer, which very much was about exploring these themes of living in this kind of post-nuclear war world.
And war.
Yeah. And, as I was watching this movie, I was also thinking about 1964 movies like Dr. Strangelove, which is the popular, satire related to a lot of this kind of stuff. But the same year, a movie called Failsafe came out, which was by Sidney Lumet. And I saw that a few years ago, and that movie is amazing too. And I think that movie is actually very, very similar to this movie. Like it takes place in control rooms and they're watching a screen with a little missile moving, But I thought Failsafe was much better than this movie. So I would definitely recommend, whether or not you watched, House of Dynamite, I would definitely recommend you guys watch Failsafe.
That came out what year again?
64.
Whoa.
Same year as Dr. Strangelove. This movie kind of fits in a long conversation that's been happening since like the Cold War. 64 is like a couple decades into the Cold War, and then these two movies come out, and they were watching it while all this stuff was going on. Like the Cuban Missile Crisis was a few years removed, and
it's interesting because like I've been watching a documentary about the Cold War. It's on Netflix, Turning Point, the bomb in the Cold War or something, and it's very interesting because the way it starts with World War II, and it starts with essentially why the bomb was dropped on Japan, or the two bombs were dropped on Japan, and how that did end World War II, but it also was the bomb that started the Cold War, essentially. And both countries, like the Soviet Union and the US, were just
this arms race.
This arms race of like, oh, we have more. No, we have more. No, we have more.
Yeah.
And it like got to a point where there are so many nuclear weapons that only like 20% could actually destroy the entire world or whatever, and the rest like would be redundant.
Wow.
Like it was something crazy like that. I don't remember the exact statistic, but
wait, destroy the whole US or the whole
world because of the fallout.
Wow,
and like the atmosphere would get destroyed and all this stuff. We have more nuclear weapons on the planet that we could actually use. And yeah, anyway, so I think the House of Dynamite analogy is a really interesting concept.
Yeah. There's kind of like this tricky balance of, the Cold War was a Cold War in that there was no direct conflict between the US and the Soviet Union.
Proxy battles.
Yeah,
basically.
like it was espionage, it was ideological battles between politicians on the global stage, it was all that kind of stuff happening, but there wasn't direct conflict because of the threat of the nuclear option, right? Like once we know that once someone starts that, like there is no good ending to that, right? And I think that's very much what this film is trying to like explore. So in one sense, it kind of keeps the peace, right? Like if the nuclear bomb was never created, and this is what Oppenheimer's all about, right? Like, but if that was never created, maybe there could have been a World War III where the US and the Soviet Union went to actual war together and, millions of lives were lost. But because everyone's sitting on nukes, it's like no one wants to go there.
No, nobody wants to go there because they know that it would just end with the world ending.
But
basically.
The flip side of that, because of the House of Dynamite, is that it just takes one spark, right?
Yeah, and that's the thing, and they do reference this in the movie, but there was a huge scare. I can't remember what year it was, but there was like a big scare where a computer glitched, and it read that a ton of missiles were coming.
Yeah.
And the guy could have like, initiated a counterattack, but he was like, wait, this is weird.
Yeah.
Like, I don't trust this. And if he had sent out a counterstrike, like the world would have ended.
Yeah.
So that guy saved the world.
Yeah. And it's not the only example.
Yeah.
That's the crazy thing. So Catherine Bigelow had done another movie called K-19, The Widowmaker. And it's just a submarine thriller movie, right? Like Liam Neeson, Harrison Ford. And you watch it and it's just kind of like, oh, Crimson Tide type of movie. But you find out it's based on a true story. It's about Soviet Union's first nuclear sub that got commissioned.
Wow.
Because of the politics and the Cold War and the arms race and all that, like it was rushed out before it was ready. And then there was a nuclear reaction that happened where it was like in the process of melting down the nuclear core. Now, if there's a nuke that goes off in the ocean off the coast of the US, in a Soviet sub, like it starts the whole thing, right? The whole chain.
Oh my gosh.
But this is a true story that happened. And no one knew about it because the Soviet Union kept it under wraps. And it wasn't until the Soviet Union dissolved.
How were they able to keep it under wraps?
Everyone was sworn to secrecy. Like, yeah.
Everyone who witnessed it?
That was part of it.
Oh my gosh.
That knew about it. And it wasn't until the Soviet Union broke up in the 90s that this came out.
Wow.
And then Catherine Bigelow made a movie based off of it. But like largely, it's really thrilling. It's very tense. And just knowing that this all really happened, it's just mind-blowing. I mean, who knows how many things have happened throughout the past few decades that we don't even know about, how close we've actually come.
Yeah.
And so it is really terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah.
And
how little control we have.
Yeah, but the thing is that you can't put the genie back in the box, right? Like
Pandora's box.
Yeah, it's like this is the world we live in.
Yeah.
I think the movie does a decent job at kind of exploring those themes. But I do think that there are other movies that have already done it and have done it better and done it with better stories.
Okay.
You know, so that's kind of like, I guess, where I'm at with the movie. Okay, you guessed that I would give this a 3.0, and I did give it a 3.0.
Okay, you guessed I'd give it a 3.0, and I actually gave it a 3.5.
Whoa, interesting. Huh. Okay, I am curious to get into spoilers, but before we do, would you recommend this movie?
I would recommend it with a caveat of this movie is about the decision making behind a nuclear attack. Like, it is about the decision making process.
So don't think of it.
Don't
think of it more as like a procedural documentary or something, and less like a drama.
It's almost like
Huh. Interesting.
It's almost like a inner workings.
Yeah.
Of the government rather than like a post-nuclear fallout.
Yeah, I mean, I do think it is dramatic.
Yeah.
So it's not like a dry movie.
Mm-hmm.
So in that sense, you know, I think you guys could still watch it and enjoy it as like a drama. But I think I know what you're saying.
Yeah.
For me, a 3.0, this was like a weak 3.0. I was like, if Jamie didn't like this, I could be talked down to 2.5.
Is that because of the ending?
That's only part of it.
Really?
Yeah, the bulk of the issue for me was the structural issue. And not so much the structural issue, which I thought was interesting, but the way they did it. And so there is something I found out later from an interview with the editor that I'll get into spoilers, that I thought they actually made the wrong decision. Compared to the way it was scripted. And so we'll get into that later. For me personally, I was kind of disappointed. I thought for Catherine Bigelow and her standards, and for how long it's been, like, I actually think I've liked almost every one of the movies I've seen of hers, and like a 3.5 or more. You know, like for me, Zero Dark 30 is like a 4.5. It's just amazing. So to me, this was like just another tier below the rest of her
that's fair
stuff.
And I've never seen any of her other movies, so I have nothing to compare it to.
If you watch like any of her other movies, I think this film felt like a really good episode of 24. You know,
because it's all live time and
everything. It gives that feel of like all these people you're cutting back and forth and this like crisis is going on. But it's 3 19-minute live real-time increments. But I would rather watch an episode of 24. Let's get into spoilers to unpack the details. Starting with the repeating storyline. So when that first happens, is it like really jarring?
At first I thought, are we about to tell like another situation? Like a completely different...
Oh, that would have been interesting.
No, I would have been upset.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I was like about to be upset. I was like, they're going to do like another version of
it could have been cool as an anthology of like different types of ways that...
I did not want it to be an anthology. So I was actually relieved that it was just going back in time with different characters. Mm-hmm. I thought that was more interesting, but...
Okay.
Yeah.
So I didn't mind the re-looping and restarting from different vantage points thing. Now... there is a movie that it made me think of, which is called Vantage Point. And it's more of a action thriller. It's like an attempted assassination.
Okay.
A big crowd, and then it restarts from different people's perspective of the same event, leading up to the same event.
That's cool.
And that was like in 2008. So to me, like this resetting the timeline from a different perspective thing isn't like in itself unique.
I guess for me it was because I've never seen a movie like that.
Okay.
And like I've never seen a movie about like how to deal with nuclear war, and then I've never seen like from behind the scenes anyway. And then I've never seen a movie that restarts time like this, and I've never seen a Catherine Bigelow movie. Okay. So there were a lot of like you have a lot more context.
Yeah.
That it makes sense why you didn't enjoy it as much.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, because when it restarts, I'm like, okay, that's cool, right? Yeah. And it was initially jarring. I was like, wait, what's going on? Because it just doesn't even tell you.
No. It's just black screen.
Yeah, but then a scene into it or whatever, you start to pick up. Oh, okay, this is like restarting. And then I was like, that's cool. I'm down for that. Except that when they restart, they kind of like restart in real time.
Yep.
Like they don't like really cut out the stuff that we already know from the phone call, right? And then
they only put in moments I thought were key moments so that we know where we are in the timeline, which is why I mentioned Memento, because Memento does the same thing. It repeats lines so that you always know where you are in the story.
Yeah. Except that it kept doing it after you already understand where you are, but they like,
but it showed the other side of the conversation.
Yes, it did. And yet it was like the new information that you're getting there wasn't that much new information. So that was my biggest problem. So when you have these kinds of things happen, the other vantage point is supposed to reveal more pieces to the puzzle. And then the final vantage point is supposed to be like, oh, that's what was going on, right? That was, and it's kind of like a twist or whatever.
I don't think it was supposed to be a puzzle. I think it was more so like a painting. It's revealing more of the full picture as it goes.
Okay.
That's kind of how I viewed it.
I think if I saw it that way, I might have just sat back and enjoyed it more, just like watching it unfold. But I guess I thought it was kind of a puzzle because the first part ends in a cliffhanger. Because there's so many things you don't know. Like, you don't know where the missile came from. You don't know if it detonated or not. Like, you don't know all of the people on the call, right? And that third piece is really what you're getting. But it's just kind of character development. Like you said, they do like very short kind of backstory. They don't, unpack this whole person's, like what's going on. The kind of mysterious pieces that you don't know when you don't really get that filled in and you're really just kind of reliving it from a different person's point of view. Like, I was kind of like, it just felt like repetitive. Now, the ramp up to the end of each kind of segment is really effective. And she's really good at building that tension.
Yeah.
So I found myself like a roller coaster, which I do like. But it was like, but it was like, oh, build for the first act. And it's like, ooh, that's really good. And then boom. And then it's just like flat, as it needs to like start building again. And then at the end of that second, thing, when it is getting to the same point, it's like build, okay. And then it plummets again.
I wouldn't say it ever flattens. And to me, it never did, because like there were moments when they were building the new storyline or whatever with new characters. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's Idris Elba. He's the president.
So it was just the appearance of new cameos that kept you interested and engaged?
Well, no, because then I was like, oh, like now I have the full context for all of these, dark phone conversations. Like an exciting reveal.
Okay. Did you know it was Idris Elba from just his voice?
No.
See, I knew that.
Oh,
so
I couldn't recognize
when they show his
voice.
section, I'm like, oh yeah, okay.
Dude.
I know this is already him. So
no, my husband and I didn't recognize his voice at all. So we were like, it's Idris Elba. And then I thought it was cool that we got to see each like different, because we never knew what POV was coming next. And I was like, I think they're going to show the president, but they've been intentional about like not showing him. So maybe they're just going to avoid showing his POV entirely. So then when they did show him, I was like interested and intrigued. And like, I don't know. I thought it was cool, like seeing 19 minutes for all of these different people.
Yeah. Whereas it felt to me like a 2-hour movie that was, it was like a 1-hour movie that was stretched into a 2-hour movie.
Interesting.
But to me, it was the fact that as you're climbing up, right, in the roller coaster, like going up is really slow, you're building anticipation, and then there's like the big exciting drop. But this felt like climbing up a hill, dropping you, do a little bit, and then climbing up a hill slowly again, and dropping again. So it was just that part of it that kind of kept taking me out of it. Like I kept losing momentum in the story, because then I'm just like, I know what's going to happen for the next 10 minutes. I'm just like, I want to get to the last 10 minutes of the last 9 minutes of this section.
Yeah.
So that I can find out, did the bomb go off?
And
right?
I think that's the frustrating part, is that like, because I agree the ending is the most disappointing part of the whole movie.
Yeah.
Because I would have given this a much higher score, but because of the ending, it like dropped a lot for me.
Yeah.
And I felt very let down because the entire movie is the promise of the premise is that we are going to know the result of this catastrophic event.
Yes.
And whether or not it is catastrophic to begin with. And the fact that it leaves us hanging made me feel like this whole movie was just the catalyst. And that is super frustrating.
Yeah.
But the more I kind of thought about it and like took a back seat, I realized it's still a really interesting philosophical
I agree with
picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
You're looking at humanity at its, or I guess the US's humanity at like its worst point.
Mm-hmm.
You're seeing how, so my favorite part in the whole movie is the conversation between the Russian minister and the
NSA deputy.
the NSA deputy guy.
Yeah.
I loved that because it was this and I'm really glad they showed us the Russian guy and he wasn't just a voice on the phone.
Yeah.
Because it showed how our humanity would function at our like lowest point.
Yeah.
You know, and how we can still kind of relate to one another even as enemies. And I think that was such a cool picture. So that's what I enjoyed about the movie. Is that it really demonstrates like a philosophical view of humanity and how to deal with a catastrophic event like this.
Mm-hmm.
Ultimately let down by the cliffhanger ending.
Yeah. So I agree with you. When the cliffhanger ending happens, you have an immediate reaction of, oh my gosh, are you kidding me?
Yep. I was so mad.
Like, why did I sit through all of this?
I was like, are you serious?
Yeah. But
I am from Chicago, okay? Like,
you
my
were really
entire
invested.
family is in
I
Chicago.
know. I was thinking about that too. I was like, oh my God,
like,
this is Jamie's hometown.
That felt personal.
Yeah.
Because, dude, if that happened, I mean, I was immediately thinking of all of them. And like,
and you want to know if they survived
and
or
I
not.
want to know if they survived.
But I do think if they did reveal if the bomb went off or not, like let's say the bomb goes off and they show that.
Yeah.
It would really just be like, oh, this is like an action thriller. But when they don't explain that, it really makes the film a philosophical like conversation piece.
Yeah.
And so I think that's why she made that choice.
But it's frustrating.
It is frustrating. But okay, so going back to the repeating timelines bit, I found out later in an interview that I was listening to of the editor that it wasn't written to repeat that much. So the storyline does reset in the script, but they make a point in the script to not repeat lines and to just kind of like pick up where you left off kind of thing. Not where you left off, but yeah, like you kind of speed through the stuff that's like repetitive.
Okay.
So it was like much tighter of a script, but for whatever reason in the edit, I guess like they felt the need to maybe
they felt it was too confusing.
Maybe, I don't know, like but it comes across as like overly heavy-handed, you know? And and so that was kind of like, why did they do that? You know, and these are like Oscar award-winning like editors and stuff, you know? Like I don't I just don't know why they made that choice, because that pacing is kind of what killed it for me, the experience of it. But then when you also take that to this theme, I thought the theme, like it is very clear what she's trying to do with that ending and then the title, and then the whole conversation. But it feels very heavy-handed also, you know? Like you have the title being explained, you have like Idris Elba like on the plane and, you know, like saying
I really
the whole
liked
thing.
that scene.
Yeah, but like
between him and the naval officer.
Yeah.
I really loved that moment.
But it's like we've already kind of gotten that throughout the whole movie on the phone call. Like the phone call is them all debating these scenarios. And
right,
what the
but the most pivotal moment is the president's choice completely on his shoulders. No one else. Like it is the heaviest, weightiest choice of the entire movie.
Yeah.
And I think his conversation with the naval officer, who's like a complete stranger to him, now they are like forever bonded.
Because
by this moment,
between the two of them, they have to decide the fate of the whole world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's insane. And him like asking for help. Like, I'm asking you for your help.
Yeah.
I was like, whoa.
I
Can
mean,
you imagine?
what's crazy is like, I don't know if it's true, but the fact that, he's saying, I've only had one briefing on what to do
I don't
in this
know
scenario.
if that's true either.
But I've had like 10 briefings on how to replace the Supreme Court justice, And like, if that is true, that is just mind blowing that would be the case.
I know that the rest of the departments, like, they go through these trainings all the time.
Yeah.
And I was reading about the one guy that they interviewed, and he said they go through these trainings all the time, but what they lack is the humanity reaction to it all, because it's fake and they all know it's fake.
Everyone knows it's a drill, yeah.
Yeah. And so he said seeing it with the humanity element was what was so fascinating about the movie. Is that he's like, yeah, we run through these drills and we know what to do, but if it actually happened, how would we all be? How would we all react? Like, would we actually be able to like hold it in?
Yeah.
And you see like soldiers and stuff like getting so emotional and like calling loved ones, and the one guy like throws up, and you're like, okay, those are things you can't practice in a drill.
Yeah, for sure.
So,
and that element it definitely is what gives this film like its kind of like grounding and reality. That is the dramatic part of the film.
Yeah.
And so maybe it's more of a character study on how people respond in crisis than
it's very philosophical.
Yeah. Now the whole thing about the kind of defense missile that they shoot, and then it only has like a 61% chance.
The bullet hitting the bullet.
Yeah, bullet hitting, which I thought was a really cool line. And I didn't know it was like that hard to make that happen. So I looked it up, and apparently that's actually based off of an actual study that was done, but it's from 2002, where the study released that there was like a 61% chance of success of a mid-course defense missile, like taking out an incoming missile. But it doesn't account for the whole system. So one thing that was frustrating as I was watching this movie also was after that misses, I'm like, you still have like 8 minutes. Like, why are we not doing another thing? Like, why are we not shooting another missile from like somewhere from the mainland?
Low.
I don't know. Or like,
they
why do we
said
have
that? I think
really?
Yeah, that it is too close to the atmosphere. Like, it would have like.
Isn't that still better than letting a whole city disintegrate?
I don't know, because then wouldn't it like rain down nuclear?
Well, you're
fallout?
still gonna have fallout everywhere anyway, right?
No, because I think if they hit it while it's still like that high in the air, it won't.
I don't know. It was just like, why are we just now? No one's doing anything, Like there's no like fighter jet going out to try to shoot the thing down, or
I don't know if they can do that.
Or call Superman to redirect it,
Get like, Iron Man up there?
Yeah. So it turns out that there are other things that can be done. Yeah. I don't know the details. But the Pentagon has said that that its system overall, defense system overall from an incoming missile or whatever, has a 100% accuracy rate of success.
I heard though
over the past like decade of testing.
But they said because I read an article that said people actually don't believe that's true though. Like it's the government saying that for its own protection. Like there are people who don't actually think that's true.
Which I could believe that.
Yeah.
And I understand why you would want to do that. If it was 61%, that's just terrifying.
Yeah.
Like, that's crazy.
Yeah.
I just can't believe that that's true. Like, that just cannot be true
to
me.
Well, we could just choose to believe the government. 100%.
Because even the idea of
There's no way you're getting us.
even the idea of, like, a missile trying to take out an incoming missile by hitting it directly... Mm-hmm. To me, seems like a little unnecessary. Mm-hmm. Like, why doesn't it just go in front of it and then just do like a solar flare? Like just like send out flares that it hits that. Like, create like a bigger target to hit that it runs into. Like, we know the trajectory. It can't turn suddenly. They were just like, even that part of watching it was just like, what are they doing? Like, why not? And it's because it does a good job of like getting you all anxious about it. And then there's like the whole like, well, we don't know if it's going to even go off. It's like a 50-50 chance.
Right. It might just
And so you're kind of like
dink.
holding out your hopes on that, and then they don't even tell you. I don't know. But what I was wondering was, what would you do if you were the president in that situation? Knowing everything you knew from that movie.
While we were watching it, I turned to my husband and I was like, what would you do?
Yeah.
I did the same thing.
And what were you guys saying?
I mean, I think I'd hold.
Okay.
I think I'd wait.
Wait for what?
I'd wait until it was like 100% certain that like it was a legitimate attack and like, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd counterattack until absolutely knew for certain that this was all like an intentional attack.
Yeah. I think I'm on the same page.
Yeah.
Which to me
The
takes...
line about surrender or suicide is kind of what sold me on that. Anyway.
You know, because you're trying to create this moral dilemma where there's no good option. They keep saying that, but the thing that made it a little bit not that hard of a situation for me was that they didn't know where it came from.
Yeah.
So the counterattack option that they're saying is to nuke everybody who has a nuke.
It doesn't work.
To nuke every like base that we know and whatever. And I'm just like, that cannot be an actual option that someone would do.
Yeah.
Like we don't, and plus, like, you know, I would definitely not do anything until we confirm that it goes off.
Yeah.
Because if it doesn't go off, I'm not launching nukes, right?
Yeah.
But if it does go off, is it like, what kind of missile was it? Was it an actual nuke? If it was a nuke, I think until you know where it came from, you can't retaliate, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's a really bad situation to be in, obviously. And if they send another one, and if that one's under some kind of cloak too, but hopefully by then, like, you're looking for it. It is a really hard situation, obviously.
Yeah.
But what they were proposing just seemed insane to me.
Yeah.
Like what the general was saying. We need to get rid of all of the threats so that, you know, they can't launch. Because how confident are we that we know every single like missile silo and like it just takes one place that, you know, and they might have been innocent bystanders, right? But we just nuked them, so now they're going to retaliate and then it's just over.
Yeah.
But I mean, I guess you could get rid of most of the arsenal for everybody. So like if you could push a one button, remove like 99% of all of the nuclear arsenal in the world. I mean, I guess that part maybe could be a compelling reason.
I don't know. I think even then, like the fallout, it would be horrible.
I know.
Especially because like nukes have just gotten bigger and bigger.
Yeah.
Right? Like isn't the H-bomb?
They're like worse forms than what dropped
happened
in Hiroshima
Japan,
and Nagasaki. Yeah.
Because I feel like if we just dropped 4 bombs, it could destroy like so much of our atmosphere even.
Yeah.
You know? It's just crazy to think about.
Yeah.
But.
So I think it wasn't quite as much of a moral dilemma as they were trying to make it out to be. But I do think it was really successful in making us face the reality that we are living in House of Dynamite.
Yeah.
Like that part I think really works. And that's why like I don't think this was lower. Like I think that's the main thing it was trying to do. And I did really walk away feeling like, wow.
And they mentioned AI too.
Oh.
They mentioned the Chinese were experimenting with like AI missile protocols or whatever.
Oh,
and I was
were they saying that's why like it could have been from them? Was that one of the theories?
I can't remember exactly.
I do remember that. Yeah, they were trying to figure out who this could have been.
They were talking to the North Korean expert. Yeah, and she was mentioning the AI, whatever. Another interesting part. So speaking of her, she was at the Gettysburg Civil War reenactment, which was very odd.
Interesting choice. Yeah,
but my husband was telling me that apparently the Gettysburg battle was so bad because their technology for guns had advanced and they were now way more accurate.
Oh, that's why it was so deadly?
Yeah, like guns had become more deadly because they had gotten more accurate or something. It had something to do with like there was like a screw or something in the bullet.
Okay.
Or I don't know. But anyway, he was saying it's an
like
interesting metaphor.
Carving the barrel like this so that it spins and then
So that it
stays
spins
on
and
a
then
trajectory.
Yeah, something like that.
Interesting.
And he was saying it's an interesting choice to have that particular battle be a part of this story because it kind of reinforces the whole, you know, when technology advances, we as humans still have a responsibility to taking care of humanity.
Yeah.
You know?
I mean, it's Oppenheimer. It's not technology is a neutral thing, but it can be used for good or bad. And yeah.
So the more deadly we make weapons and the more deadly we make the world, you know, the scarier and the more tragic war becomes.
I guess the good news is that we can't make it worse, right?
AI, right? Isn't that the new conversation?
No, but
like that was the whole Oppenheimer thing. Like the metaphor he was trying to draw was that AI is our new H-bomb or whatever.
Well, that's Mission Impossible: The Last one.
Yeah,
you
the
know,
last
it's
one.
like the AI takes over the nuclear arsenal and then starts using it against us.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like I think they dropped AI into this movie for a reason.
That's it. I'm going back to my flip phone. No. I do miss flip phones.
That's it. I'm going to the moon.
But yeah, it is a compelling movie, but not necessarily the most entertaining. I think is the way I would sum it up.
I probably won't watch it again. But
you need to
still
start
liked it.
Knocking out her filmography now.
I guess so.
Yeah. All right. Well, let us know what you thought if you watched it. And
you can follow us on YouTube, Spotify, Letterboxd, and Apple Podcasts.
And join us next week as we continue our quest for the 5th star.